Well, where to start? It's been a while since I've been out here. That's where I got with the sandblasting when the compressor blew. Hard to believe that that is now something close to what, November? So 5 months ago now. It's been a while since I've been able to be out in the garage. The last I was out here, I was finishing up that, and then I spent the winter for a number of reasons. I went into in my last video designing a 1/8 scale model of the car, which has had surprisingly, the videos had a surprisingly good reaction. Actually, I didn't expect it to be that enthusiastic. So I'm going to keep doing some of those. I'm going to keep you apprised of that. But in the meantime, some stuff I've done. Now I'm back, it's what, end of March. I'm back into the garage for the first time since November. And I remember it was November because, well, it was right around Halloween. I remember saying, although I think it got cut, that Halloween's my favorite holiday. That's the one time of year when all the women you wish would dress really sexy do. And so I want to encourage that, even though I'm closer to 60 than 50 now. It's still, I've embraced my role as a dirty old man. That's it's an involuntary transition. Father time is undefeated. I'm no longer an adorable perv. I'm now a dirty old man, but that is what it is. So now we're out here, and I've had this for a little while. Onto the subject at hand. When I did the compressor, I was talking about moisture trap and getting rid of moisture and such. And this was gotten as a way to get, basically it's a large moisture trapper is how I'm going to do it. It's an air tank. I got it from Princess Auto, which is the Canadian version of Harbor Freight. And it was good sale. And I got some piping, which I'm going to put in today. The idea here is the air will come in from the tank, and any moisture in it, because of momentum, will continue straight into the tank. And then whatever pressure comes out, I'm going to hook my gun to this side. It should have had time to drop its moisture. So I've gotten a 6-foot air hose, again, Princess Auto. It's going to run into here. It's after the regulator. That tank is good for 175 PSI. This one's good for 125. So my regulator steps it down to 100. So I'm not going near the limits of the tank here. So 100 PSI in and out. It's just going to act like a buffer. So I'm going to do that today. The other thing I did is, a little while ago, I had the opportunity to sit in a finished Bug Eye Sprite, and I discovered that I'm just where the steering wheel sits, stock wheel, which needed repair. I have not done the repair yet. What I discovered is that my lap, especially with new seats with the firm cushions, with the old cushions that were collapsed, I can fit. But with new cushions, which I have, it's very tight clearance from the seat to the bottom of the wheel. So I managed to get off of a TR4, I believe. I thought it might be smaller. It's a really nice looking wheel, banjo style wheel. Turns out it's about the same size. But what I can do is I can make a new rim for it and cut these just a little shorter and make the rim a shorter circumference, because the toothing in the center of the hub of this wheel is the same as the toothing in the hub of this wheel. So it actually fits on the stock steering shaft, which is important. If I go and get like a Nardi wheel or something like that, I have to then invest in a different hub and it gets pretty expensive. This I can do myself. It'll take me some time, but I like the look of it, and I think my time is free to me, so I can do it a little cheaper. And then once the foam collapses, or if I want, I can still sub the original wheel back on with no problems. So the wheels, they're just something I thought I'd mention because I happen to have them. They are a future project. They're not happening today. It's still too cold in the garage for me to use any of the adhesives for the repair. And also I have other stuff that I need to get done first. Like this, because once this is done, I'm gonna see how it works. I'm gonna hit some of this with a sandblast. That's gonna be today's project. So I'll get to work here. I've got my pipe and I've got some Teflon tape. Yellow Teflon tape. I think I've said this before. Yellow Teflon tape is for gases. So that's what you use on your welder for your argon or your CO2 gold mix, whatever. It's also what you use for air pressure. White tape, that's for water. And it's a little different. This is gas proof too, which is nice. If you got something that goes boom, but nothing here goes boom, hopefully. Although that's what I thought about my compressor. It went boom, but we fixed that. So just gonna grab a wrench here and we're gonna start putting this stuff on. I always set the tape up so when you're putting the threads in, it tightens the tape as opposed to loosening the tape, right? So that's fairly straightforward, I think. Good enough. So the top one is the one that air is going into. So it's going to have the male, because the air hose will come from the tank, the short one, come from the tank and onto this, right? And then coming out, I'm going to have the air line to the vehicles. So got all these at the same time. So brass, I'm told that you don't always need Teflon tape on. I'm going to put some on anyway. It doesn't hurt to have it here, I don't think. It's not like a compression fitting where it does actually hurt to have Teflon tape in. So we're just gonna throw this on. Tip it down. You can see I've got my Sandblaster tank set up, or hoses all set up. Now, I usually don't like showing you the sandblasting because I'm always worried about damaging the camera. But you know what? We're going to just do a couple minutes of it, and then I'm going to turn it off. I should remember to put my mask on, though. That's important. So let's go get my mask. It would be a shame to try and sandblast without this on. So, yeah, we're gonna do the mask and try and get some of this done here. Let's see what we do. Foggy in here still, but look at the difference. So that's been sandblasted again, dry blasted, and I used, in this case, less than a full bucket of sand, almost a full bucket, but less than. Got all these off. Well, a little bit around those bolts cleaned off. Got all the old surface rust that had formed there off, the paint, and it came off way quicker. I did have to change the tip, the ceramic tip on my gun, but that's normal. That's just that's actually a disposable part. Yeah, I didn't get any of the clogs that I had been getting. I'd have to stop and clean the gun out, and as I went along, it got more and more, and it would just take me hours to do stuff. This time, I literally went through a whole bucket of sand. I used to have to declog my gun 1 or 2 times in the first half of the bucket, and like 4 or 5 times in the second half of the bucket. And I went through almost a whole bucket. I never had to declog my sandblaster once. Some of it, I'm sure, is in the tank. I don't think that all of it got stopped, but if you look over here, this tank has been draining. It's been throwing water and oil out. So this has been capturing. So that's good. The fact it's been capturing lots of water and oil, that and dumping it, that's what we want out of that. So I'm happy with this, but I have to stop. This is bothering my lungs, all the sand in here. So I'm going to pack up for the night and maybe go and do a little bit more on my 3D print. So on my way out the door, thought I'd mention that when I unhooked that, I turned it upside down to let that drain. So any moisture, what have you, that's caught in that tank, it's going to drain straight out of here because there's no drain on this tank. And rather than drill it, that's another reason I had the in here and right there. So this idea seemed pretty effective. I'm happy with it. We had some really good results with the sandblaster. I just finished up that bucket, got that done before I leave, and purged the air, and I'm going to go and chill. Well, this kind of sucks. So I got a good start on my sandblasting. I took a break. It was cold out. I waited a few days to come back out. And then we had a big thaw. And my garage completely flooded. The sand that didn't get swept up, as you can see, is still soaking wet all over the floor. So that is not, I cannot sweep that up and put it into the bucket until it dries a bit. So we're having a bit of a delay on doing any more of my sandblasting, which was, of course, delaying videos further. I'm going to go back and do some work on the computer, I guess, do some more of the 3D stuff until this kind of dries itself out. It's already been a week. There was 1.5 inches of water in this garage at one point, so I'm concerned about rust around the base of the 2 bonnets. I'm going to have to re-sandblast the bottom part. But, I mean, what can you do? Oh, I got some new sand. The old sand was getting dull. I hope that didn't get wrecked in the bag. Another thing I did notice, there's been, I didn't do this. This was a repair that was done that became exposed when I sandblasted that. So who knows what else I'm going to find in here. I may try and planish this bit here, or I may replace it with bits from the other one. I'm going to try and fiddle this out. I've sandblasted these bolts, but they're in there. They're rusted hard. So the disassembly will continue, but not for a bit. There's a combination of things going on here. Number 1 was the flooding, and number 2 is it just so demoralized me. I just don't want to touch the thing for a bit. So maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks, this will have dried out enough and I'll be motivated again. But for now, you're going to see another video mostly on the 3D model.